Are we okay? We got to fucking... We've got to do the fucking shit that we for fucking drug abuse. No! Are you listening?
Sean here, and Lorne Armstrong can't even get his insecurity right. He doesn't even know how to do that correctly. He can't be successful at that. If there was a meter for insecurity, we all know his would break the scale. If it went to 10, he would go up to 150. Because there's something inside of him that feels so empty, so hollow, so unworthy, that it is displayed in every action and almost every sentence. I was in the Marine Corps, and you'd be telling stories, and someone would pipe up and go, you know, my buddy, and everything that came after my buddy was simply bullshit. It was always a story to one-up you. They didn't have to say it was them, so that if they were asked specifics, they wouldn't have to worry about not being able to give them. They could just spout some bullcrap, whatever they wanted to tell about their crazy buddy who did this or that, and you would get one-upped, and hell, you might even one-up them. Something I found so bizarre about Lorne is that he doesn't do that. He doesn't say, well, yeah, you know, I had a friend. Every once in a while he'll do it. You know, let me put it this way. I have a sister who had a 4.0 GPA, and you get the hint? What? He has no friends. He can't tell any stories about his friends. Imagine you're sitting around talking, and we're all talking about our friends. We're all talking about our friendships. Lorne wouldn't be able to join in. He'd want to talk about himself or complain about something. We do know that he does lie about, I got so much stamina, I'm so far from stupid it'll make your head spin, I'm so far from stupid. He does do that. He's overcompensating. If I told him I was vegan, he'd be like, oh yeah, well, I'm a level 100 organic raw vegan. He would try to up you. He would try to tell you that he's smarter, but we know he's not. He would want to tell you he's better, but we know he's not. If Thor showed up on his doorstep and he went to pick up the hammer, Thor could pick it up easily, but Lorne could not. Lorne would, instead of going, wow, I'm unworthy, he'd say, oh, this is another trap from Xavier Von Erck and NBC. Everything about him just screams, I don't believe in myself, I know I'm not worthy, but that's okay, because I'm going to put on that front anyway. Most of it is because of his poor behavior, his entire life. So they try to elevate themselves above all the bad crap that they've done and everything they've experienced because of their poor behavior. Lorne made his own bed, and he refuses to lie in it. He will lie on a mold-covered floor in an apartment or in a dilapidated trailer, but he won't accept the responsibility, so he's constantly going to try to blame everyone else. Now that goes with a number of things that we've discussed, but it also goes with this insecurity he's got. He also believes that his behavior is going to inspire others to be better. He's going to set a good example. He's going to lecture Roy on what he's doing wrong, and Winnie, get in rehab. He believes he's some kind of leader, and he's the righteous one, and he's the one making changes, just coming slow, but in reality, he's just trying to compensate for his epic failure of a life. People like Lorne, they don't even realize they're alienating other people because of their behavior. How come everybody in this circle sends my calls directly to voicemail? Why do you think that is, Lorne? It's exhausting talking to you. When Tiffany's done, she just can't take it anymore. Okay, bye. He doesn't see it. And he truly doesn't understand that he's pushing people away. Something else insecure people will do Do you remember when, of course you remember when Debbie's yelling at him and he's laughing and he's like, I am your bitch. Yeah, I was being an asshole. I was pissed off. It's the, why is everything so serious? Jeez, everything's a joke. Come on, man. You're being too serious. People like him, when push comes to shove, he always acts as if he's morally superior. But he lacks the courage of his convictions. He won't do anything that he says. He just won't. He's not going to stop drinking or smoking or drunk driving or being an asshole, accusing people of cheating, and the list goes on because he lacks the courage of his conviction. If you've ever been in a lecture for one of these insecurity, let's just say it's a symptom of a bigger disorder and you've been in there, one of the questions some of these professors will ask is, how often have you wanted to throat punch? Well, maybe not throat punch. Hit them in the head with a brick or something because they're driving you so crazy. Gee, how many of us had wanted to hit Lorne in the head with a brick for the way he's acting and what he's saying? Something I don't understand, maybe, Lorne, in my opinion, would have been the entertainer. I thought he would be the guy who's always trying to be funny and trying to be the life of the party, but he's not. He wants to be that toxic bomb who just turns every situation into what he wants it, where he's comfortable at. So he's not the entertainer. And that surprised me, because I thought this guy would try to be the class clown. If Lorne was on social media and you were on his friends list, he would be extremely intrusive. You'd have all sorts of memes and GIFs and stickers all over your Facebook. They would be constant, probably cat crap or dogs or look how cute this is. He would definitely be starting arguments in your feeds. You just know he would. He would be a nuisance and try to take it over and make himself the center of attention on your social media account. You could block Lorne. Think of the friends you have that are family friends and how awkward it'd be if you blocked your grandparents or your cousins, niece, nephew, whoever. But I would imagine that Lorne's nieces and some of his friends and family have blocked him in the past. And he probably begged him, well, why'd you block me? Well, I didn't even do anything. You were being weird and possessive. And you were embarrassing me on social media, dude. Lorne is a virtue signal master. A lot of these purple and pink-haired psychos on Twitter, they come out and they're virtue signaling. And especially these companies now where they're flying 900 rainbow flags, and you got Kevin Feige coming out, we have got the first one-legged Pakistani Muslim starring in a Marvel movie. Rather than just cast people, they have to tell you about it. That's what a virtue signal is. Lorne, whenever he's on these calls and when he insults Emma, don't you call her a wetback, she is a real person. He gets offended for those other people. He's the virtue signal guy. He's holier than thou, which is essentially what virtue signaling is. They get offended, and then they start screaming and yelling. Who do we know that does that? Lorne Armstrong. Who do we know that comes to the defense of everyone? He's the white knight. I talked about that. Mr. Cornville Virtue Signal. People on social media have received death threats from these lunatics who were offended by something they said or didn't like the wording used by someone or their opinions. Lorne is always threatening to beat people up. Now, I know that's not the same, but the similarities cannot be overlooked. Lorne is afraid he'll be attacked. He'll be a target if he doesn't jump up on the rooftops with a megaphone and start shouting his defense of everybody. I don't know why this little Cornville 56K modem pea brain would do that. he doesn't even have people in his life other than these catfish. Maybe he sees in his head that he's going to negate all of his negative behavior and damage he's done by being that white knight. He wants to give the impression that he's safe. Look at me. I am defending everyone. I'm the one virtue signaling. I'm a safe guy. He sort of did that with Kayla. Don't give anyone else your last name. Look at me. I'm the one that's protecting you. See, I'm the good guy. And that's Lorne. The only difference between him and these lunatics on Twitter is that no one's going to pander to him. No one's going to get down on their knees and, oh, you're the greatest, Lorne, please take me back. Even though we know he feels like people should, despite the fact that he's the one who caused the situation in the first place. Lorne would never be a good parent because I know adulting is hard for him. I don't know if he takes his trash out on the correct day, or if he even takes the trash out at all, or just burns it. He just eats garbage all of the time. I can't imagine that his kids would eat anything other than garbage. At Lorne's workplace, there would be people depending on him to do what he's required to do to support them. But this guy would make excuses, as he always does, for going out and getting a job on why they can't get their crap done when they're supposed to have it done. And if you called Lorne out on his irresponsibility, we know what would happen. We've seen it on these calls. He flips out. And then, to top it all off, he'll complain about the way you are, about your rage for calling him out on all of the stuff he's done and continues to do. Lorne doesn't expect, and he doesn't want anyone to have a life outside of what he needs and what he feels is required for him to feel happy and comfortable. He doesn't see people as an individual. He's so self-involved and so engrossed with Rod. He's so engrossed in his own crap that he doesn't care about what anybody else is doing. And you shouldn't have a life. His life should be your life. You are nothing more than a tool that should be available to them whenever they need you. Call Emma. Call Dan. None of anything that he does says selflessness. None of anything that he does says companionship or equality. He always interrupts people. You've heard it on those calls. He interrupts people. He believes what he has to say is more important. The number of times he interrupted Ramona and she couldn't even speak can't be counted. There are just too many. You would lose count. I bet you Lorne would remove something from a refrigerator at work to put his stuff in there. I have no doubt he would drink somebody else's soda. Because, again, it's his own selfish wants and needs. Lorne fits into another category, the manipulative guilt tripper. We know that Lorne is so good at this. Yeah, well, you know, yeah, well, yeah. Oh, I get so tired of the yeah, well, when he's talking to people. He wants everyone else who wants to do something for themselves to feel terrible about it. He wants people to feel less than a human being, and anything that they do is just going to inconvenience everybody, and it's wrong. A lot of spouses are like this. They don't want you to have a life. If someone is miserable, they want you to be miserable along with them. This guy, he doesn't even understand that people around him are going to be miserable, and they're going to start to resent him. Even the people who played these catfish, they were getting sick of him because he's so despicable. This guy will probably eat with his mouth open. I can see him at the table There was a picture of him with food in his mouth. I have no doubt he'd be on a date sitting across I had a friend that did this, and I couldn't go eat with him anymore because it was so gross. But I guarantee you he sits and eats with his mouth open and probably asks, "Can you see me chewing? Can you hear me chewing?" But I just feel like he's like raised by cavemen. And I don't think Mama Gwen even cared enough to say, "Son, close your mouth while you're eating, please. It's gross." She probably didn't even pay attention. "Oh, what are you eating? Bologna? Good. Go sit in the corner. Eat out of a dog bowl." I don't know what she said to Lorne, but she probably should have said that. He's also the guy. He doesn't even wash his hands after he goes to the bathroom. I'm sure he doesn't, because he goes outside and uses the bathroom, which he describes in disgusting detail. He'll cough and spit and burp and do everything into the phone because he has no interpersonal skills. He just doesn't. It's not like he's from another country where they have different levels of acceptance for different things. He's a cornbilled redneck, born in the USA, and he's still an animal. He's the kind of guy, if he told you about driving a truck, he wouldn't even ask you if you knew anything about driving a truck. He would go on the Dr. Evil monologue and keep talking until he was too tired to go on. And then you could say, "Yes, Lorne, I knew all of that." And he wouldn't even care. He'd just skip over it. He's a drama queen. Everything is an emotional nuclear bomb. Do you remember, I believe it was Casey, and he wanted Emma to call Casey at like 3 o'clock in the morning. He said, "I don't care what time it is." He's the guy who will call you in the middle of the night to tell you about a breakup with a girl he barely knows because, hey, he wanted to do it. And it's Lorne. I don't think Lorne is a Karen. I don't think he would send the food back for no reason. You've seen them at the restaurants where this food is not good enough, and they complain about everything. Now, Lorne will probably complain about everything, but with food, he doesn't seem to complain that much about food. Everything else, but you can look at his belly and tell that he loves food. He probably doesn't eat for taste. Or maybe he does eat for taste. I don't know. But I just know he likes to eat. He likes to yell and he likes to cry, and he'll do it very easily. I bet you he storms out of situations. I don't know if he ever stormed out of anything at his work, but it wouldn't surprise me. He takes everything personally. You can't reason with them. And you feel like you have to walk on eggshells, even with the tiniest little thing. These catfish women were kept on the little crackles of the eggshells. The eggshells were already cracked. They were walking on what was left of them. He never wants to pay for anything. He wants everyone else to spend their money. He doesn't want to spend a dime. Now, granted, he doesn't have any money, but do you remember when he asked Winnie about how much to leave for a tip? That tells me he's been out to the restaurants and never left one. "Hey, Emma, go ahead and put money in Winnie's account at jail so she can talk to me." That's typical Lorne. I bet you he's the guy who forgets his wallet when you go out to eat. "Oh, guys, I forgot my wallet. I'll get you next time. I'll pay you back, Ramona, for you taking a trip out here." I've learned from experience that if someone can't pay for something and it's not something crucial, I don't give them the money because you're not going to see it again. When you let somebody borrow money, you should probably expect never to see it again. That's just my opinion. And with Lorne, you know you're never going to see it again. If you call him out for this, behind your back, he'll be talking a bunch of smack, just like he does with these catfish. He doesn't understand they all talk to each other. But I can just see him flipping out and going and telling everybody what an awful person you are for calling him out on all of that unacceptable behavior. Lorne's a sentence finisher. He did it with Ramona a few times. He just assumes he knows what people are going to say, and he's going to give his response, or he's going to try to finish your sentence for you. I despise those kinds of people because they're not listening. And we know he doesn't listen. He just wants you to shut up so he can say what he wants to. I think if it was something Lorne didn't want to do, he would just ghost you. He wouldn't get back with you. He would disappear. You'd make plans with him, and he'd never let you know. He wouldn't text you or call you. If he had access to email, he might not. Whatever. If there was something he could hide behind, then maybe he would. But I don't think he has enough gumption, enough couth, to let somebody know, hey, I know you were planning this, but I can't make it, or I don't want to come. This could also be some kind of anxiety disorder, might be something to do with panic, I don't know, but it's definitely what Lorne would do. If you were to try to call him out on it, he would hide. I even think he might feel a little humiliation, but it's Lorne, so who knows? When you're dealing with a person as awful as he is, you have to try and not take it personally, because you know what to expect, and with Lorne, you know you can expect the worst. This was long and rambly. I love you guys. I will see you in the next one.